Hi all, welcome you all to the lecture video session on principles of organization. What are the principles of organization? How the organization has to be designed. In the previous lecture video, we understand what are the importance or what are the purposes of an organization, and we also understood what should be the nature and the characteristics of an organization. Principles of organization is to design the success of an organization. So the success of any organization depends on the organizational structure to some extent. Some of the principles that are to be followed for the development of an organization shows that there should be a efficient and the sound organizational structure that is required in order to make this organization a successful one. How to find out the principles of the organization which are to be followed in order to develop a sound organization structure. Let's understand one by one closely. The principles that are to be followed for the development of a proper and a sound organizational structure are: the first one is principle of unity of objectives, principle of authority and the responsibility. The third one is the principle of span of control. The fourth one is the principle of dividing and grouping of activities. The fifth one is the principle of delegation. The sixth one is the principle of coordination. Seventh one is the principle of communication. The eighth one is the principle of line and staff relationship. Ninth one is the principle of balance. 10th one is the principle of flexibility. 11th one is the principle of simplicity. The 12th one is the principle of productivity. 13th one is the principle of unity of direction. So in all, we understood that there are 13 principles of organization which forms the sound organizational structure. Let's discuss one by one in detail. Let's understand what is the principle of productivity. How do we define the principle of productivity? Principle of productivity is defined as the ratio of output to input. Normally in our language we call the ratio of output to input as the efficiency of any method or any of the equipments. So the efficiency is the principle of productivity. In other words, principle of productivity gives a measure of optimum utilization of the resources that are available. When an organization is considered as a complete organization, the productivity can be expressed as the value of goods and the services that are produced. So the productivity can be defined as the ratio of value of goods and the services that are provided to the value of resources that are utilized for this production. So the higher productivity leads to the higher profitability. So once we say that the value of the goods and then the services that are produced, here we can understand that we are defining the two type of industries. One is the value of the goods, that means to say it could be the purchase value or it could be the production that is done, and then the services that are produced. We see that there are two different type of organization. One is the service oriented organization, another one is the production units. Service oriented organization, for example, it could be a normal two-wheeler, it could be a normal the service station that we have seen in common, or it could be the value of the goods is that the purchased units, and then the value of the resources that are utilized. Value of the resources that are utilized involves the time that is involved, that is the value of the equipments that is involved, the time of the production or the time of the service that is involved, the human resources that they are involved, or the replacement units that are taken out in order to repair that or in order to replace the services that is provided to a particular unit. So the value of the goods and then the service produced to the value of the resources that are utilized basically says that it is a ratio of the output to the input. The value of the resources that are utilized for this production says that it is the input, and then the value of the goods says that it is the output. So the higher productivity always leads to the higher profitability. How do we say that the higher profitability is derived out of the higher productivity? Is that the moment we say that the higher productivity, there we can understand that the time is utilized to the complete extent. The So the productivity we have understood, and we understood that it is simply the ratio of output to the input. So now let's understand what are the two types of the organizations. There are two types of organizations which are nothing but one is the formal organization and the other one is the informal organization. Formal organization is the one which has a system of well defined positions, authority, responsibility, policies, principles, and so on. So the formal organizations are ruled by the rules and then the regulations for its proper functioning, and they are built on the principles of organization, and they should be flexible enough to give the inner room to the creative talents. If the rules and regulations are more, it may kill the creativity of a person or the employee in an organization. Hence, the formal organization should also be little flexible enough in order to give flexibility to the employee to exhibit their creativity or the talent in their work. And informal organizations are those organizations which are formed by the group of the people separately, and they could be spontaneously, it could be created for a purpose. For example, if a work has to be done, if it is very urgent, then spontaneously few people could be gathered together in order to complete that work. So that if there is a purpose or a need which could be an emergency, so there could be a set of people who could be selected from different different set of departments in an organization, and they might be employed or they might be deployed with that particular work. So if for example, if there is a huge breakdown in any one of the department, then there could be different people who are going to gather together, and then they will be able to spontaneously they will be deputed to that particular work, and where those people are interested with the work to complete and then get back the things to the normalcy. So they are not bound by any kind of rules or the regulations. Suppose for example, if there is an emergency in an area, suppose if there is a gas leakage by a company, or if there could be a leakage of any kind of emissions, then there could be a committee which is formed in order to bring back the functioning of that particular factory into the normalcy, to cut down and to completely ensure the safety of the employees. This kind of emergency troop will be working on that. There will not be any rules or regulations that are going to be framed in order to understand and then to complete the work. They are developed instantaneously, and they are developed by the group of employees who are going to satisfy the needs of that situation. For example, if there is a recreational team, a music band, and this kind of the music band could be an informal organization. If at all they are called for any kind of entertainment at the moment, immediately they are going to be deputed, and then there could be some people who are also involved out of their interest. So the informal organizations provides a social satisfaction to the group members, and they provide the platform for the friendship and then the recognition, and there could be a strong bonding between them and a sense of belongingness and a flexibility, and also there could be, because of the belongingness, there could be a security also. So this helps in boosting the morale of the employees. Some teams, the group of workers may also come together for a cause, and for example, during the COVID-19 was a emergency. In an organization, few people came together and they said that they are going to put some road shows to create the kind of awareness among the public. So this kind of groups will be formed according to the situations, and this kind of moral responsibility boosted their creativity, and then they went on to the street shows and they joined hands with the police organizations, and they wanted to provide the awareness among the public, and that gave them a satisfaction, and that became that became a continuous activity for them to ensure the safety of the public. And there will be definitely a proper cooperation that is exhibited in the team of people, and that leads to the success. So there will not be any kind of So there could not be any kind of dissatisfaction among the employees, and there cannot be any kind of underperformance. There cannot exist any kind of confusion. There cannot exist any kind of conflicts, because all of them are grouped together in order to complete a purpose, or they have grouped together in order to meet a cause. So after learning the formal and the informal organization and the difference between both of them, let's understand what are the types of the organization and how the structure of the organization vary from each other. So first one is the type of the organization. In the type of the organization, this organization structure could be based upon the size of the organization, nature or product that is being manufactured, and there could be different type of organization based on the complexity of the problems that are being faced. So these are the main three types based on which the organization structures are formed, or the type of the organizations are basically formed. The main type of the organizations are very important one which we need to follow. The first one is the line, military or scalar organization. The second type of the organization is the functional or staff organization. The third type of the organization is the line and staff organization. The fourth important type of organization is the project or product organization or departmentation. The fifth one is the matrix or combined type or grid organization. The sixth one is the committee organization. We are going to discuss each one of them separately, and we will understand what are the advantages and then what are the characteristics of each one type of the structure of the organization, and we will come to know that which kind of organization could fall into the each kind of category. The organizational structure is basically represented with the help of the organization chart, and it is not going to be the routine or the academic sketch that we are going to write. These may not be the standard format. There cannot be any kind of standard format in order to represent the organization structure. So this can fit into any kind of industrial environment. The organization chart should be drafted in line with the available resources and the requirements that is going to meet. So that these are there may be different identities also. These may use the identity this may be identity above 6 patterns, and that may evolve under any situations. So there could be 6 type of organization which may evolve under any kind of circumstances. Let's understand each one. So the first we will take up the line organization. You are seeing a structure of the line organization here, that is going to start from general manager or the CEO, and the manager is going to report to the general manager. The manager of the production unit, directly the production unit we are taking up, and you will understand why exactly we are taking only one department here. So the general manager directly they are taking care of the manager, where the manager is reporting directly to the general manager. Under manager there could be 2 superintendents, from superintendent 1 and then the superintendent 2. Under superintendent 1 there could be 2 major foremen who could be reporting to the superintendent 1, and again here superintendent 2 will be having 2 foremen who are working under him, and each foreman might be having different 3 different type of groups or the teams who are working under them and reporting to them. So you can see the line organization here, starting from the general manager to the manager, who are the manager is going to have 2 different superintendents, and again under superintendent different workers are going to come through foreman. So different structure, the kind of line that you are seeing here is the vertical one. That's why it is called as the line organization chart for a medium scale industry, where the production is the major department, where it is completely controlled by the CEO. So what the manager does is, manager takes the orders from the general manager or the directions from the general manager or the CEO, and he will be passing it on to the superintendent 1 and the 2 in their language, and there will not be any kind of communication gap. In turn, the superintendent is going to break these rules and the regulations and then the requirement into the foreman's level, and then the foremen are going to communicate to the workers, so that the workers will complete the work in the manner that is set by the general manager. So line So the line organization is the simplest of all the different all the organization structures we have seen. It almost resembles a military type. There are clear-cut hierarchy of the positions. You have seen that the CEO is directly controlling the manager, and that there could be only one command that is given by the CEO, which will be carried on till the workers through the different people. They are vertically reporting to each other. The command flow set up by this type of organization is very simple, straight, and it is vertical, so there cannot be any kind of communication gaps. The authority, line authority, is that the relationship in which the superior exercises the direct supervision over the subordinates. That's why we have seen the CEO is having the direct control on the manager. Manager in turn he will be controlling the foremen, and the foremen are controlling the workers. There are three different, three important principles of this particular type of system, line organization system. They are: the command should be given by the immediate superior to the subordinate. There cannot be any kind of cross functioning here. So there cannot be cross functioning means the only one person is going to give the command, and then the workers who are reporting to them will be carrying out that command only. So there cannot be any kind of skipping of in the levels of the the command. So there should be only one chain of the command, that should be given by the one person. So there should be this is limited to this number. There will be limited number of subordinates and assigned to one superior. So there cannot be big cluster of people who are assigned to one manager or one superior. So the small team will function effectively and efficiently. So the small industries, it is this kind of management is suitable for small industries or enterprises. What are the advantages of this particular type of industry at this particular type of line structure? So they are very easy and simple to understand. They are very flexible, and this can be expanded to any extent, and it can be contracted at any point of time. This makes a clear cut commands. It gives a clear division of authority, and there will be clear channel of communication. It encourages speedy work, and it is very strong in discipline, as you have seen in the military, and it develops all kind of all-rounder execution, so there will not be any delay in the work. What are the disadvantages? Disadvantages are many here. It neglects the specialization. It carries out the routine work. It is good for routine work, so it will not give any kind of room for the creativity, and it overloads the key executives, because manager has to take care of the foreman and then also the workers, so it overloads the key superiors. So it requires high type of supervisory controls, and then it has to meet the challenges in the absence of specialists. It is going to become a very big challenge for the superiors, and there could be limited number of small concerns. So it encourages the dictatorial terms. That's why it is military type, and it favorites the scope. It favorites, like the favoritism could come there. There is a scope of favoritism, so there could be a very minimum growth, because there could not be any kind of room for the creativity, and it is very rigid, so it cannot be very flexible also many a times. So where do we find this kind of application, line organizations? We find this kind of organizations where it is suitable for the small scale industries, small enterprises, like the small job shops, can be a small restaurant also, and there could be the application of line organization leads to the organization which are going to be automatic, and then there could be continuous process industries like a CNC machine lathe shop. You can see that, like it is applicable for the paper, sugar industries, textiles. There could be a line of people, and then who are working for the particular in the particular chain type of command, and there could be rewiring of the work where the routine works are there, like the government offices. This kind of line organization is much suitable. And what are the functional qualifications we are going to understand in the next type of organization, which is called as the functional organization. So we will close this particular this video here. Thank you all, and see you all in the next video of management and entrepreneurship organizations, structure of organization. Thank you all.